geographic locations. The EDA's long-standing mission is to ensure that all communities have a path to economic prosperity. And through the pilot program, the EDA will support communities with high prime age employment gaps through flexible bottom up strategy and implementation grants that tackle the unique challenges these communities face. Now, with that being said, in a nutshell, when the SLDC applied for funding, they basically took the citizens in the north side and applied for funding without your permission. So when they received the grants, it was for the people that stayed in the distressed communities. This brother stated that he took in a family, and you know, I guess with your apartment complex, you housed them. So let me explain something to you. I did the same thing in 2020. I was told by people from SLDC to keep it on the hush hush, but I went straight to Mission St. Louis, and I have the receipt. I will show it to you, brothers and sisters, or email. But Mission St. Louis cut me a $10,700 check just for helping a family out. And it was for like 4 or 5 months. Took them in. So I was told by the person that was running that program, Mr. Andy, that, you know, they got funds to give to people in the community. However, you know, we don't want to make a big announcement about it. So a year later, as we move forward, because we never received the funding, I started inquiring more and more to Mr. Lance Knuckles about where's the funds. So it was a spin game. And the spin game was basically used to keep people quiet so they could have stall tactics to keep the money in the account to draw interest. Because if you keep the people confused on where the funds are coming from, you never can ask questions. So let's be clear. These coded funds that they speak about, ARPA, are really the Recompete Pilot Program Fund, phase 1 and 2. You can go on YouTube and hear the president speak about starting from the bottom up. This is why the documentation that I'm holding disputes bills that the city of St. Louis passed on how to distribute the funds. In a crisis, you never hold the funds from the people that need them now. So why would you take the funding that's broken up in different categories, put it all in a bank account and hold it for 3.5 years, but go back and tell the feds that you're doing certain things to clean up the communities and tell people that crime is going down when you already know, because most of you live in the community, drive in the community, and have family in communities out here. So if crime is going down, then how are we still reaping the worst benefits of what happens when crime is in your community and you're plagued with children with guns at nighttime shooting each other, and then politicians get on TV and tell you, well, we're doing something about it. Let me be clear. Of course we did. It's going to get greater late. It's going to get greater before it gets better. All because, listen, the money was sent basically for people like Mr. Carter, like Mr. Willie Boyd, like Miss Coffee, to create programs from their neighborhoods. It speaks about your local communities accessing the funds to do something with it, because how can a city politician that's from Minnesota, because Lance is from Minnesota, Neil Richardson is from somewhere else, most of them are from somewhere else. The point I'm making is, if you go get people from other states to take care of the business at hand in the city of St. Louis, who don't even know the people in the city of St. Louis, they're not doing door-to-door canvassing. You see what I'm saying? So it means that it's the lack of transparency, and the funds are not getting to your doorstep, all because these individuals decided to change policy from what was already laid out, what they were supposed to do. Let's be clear, they're just trustees. All they were supposed to do was find a way to get you down to the city to register to receive funding. Now, if you see people that give out emergency food stamps, all you do is go down to social services, they run your name, they give you some emergency food stamps on a card. It's emergency. So the city of St. Louis and its great leaders decided to take an emergency and flip it and make the people wait while they get on the news and speak about all this murder, death, mayhem. Well, let's think about it. Hatred comes from poverty. You got children that get up every morning who walk to school, if they have a school to go to that's local, if they're not being bused. This money was designed to alleviate that because it was, let me put it to you like this. Chad Egan explained this to me. He has the ability to take the north side schools and put life back into them with his budget. I gave this man Lance Knuckles' number. He tried to reach out to Lance Knuckles, and everybody at SLDC, they stopped answering his emails and wouldn't respond to his phone calls. Now, this is a European man. You understand what I'm saying? I reached across the aisle away from our people to the European Caucasian for a little bit of clarity of what's going on, and the man provided me all the information, and he emailed me the documentation and let me speak not only just to him, but to his boss, Mr. Ernest Weston, up in Washington, D.C. They reclassified all people that look like us from being NBC, which was Negro, Black, and Colored, to the indigenous people. So when you look up the funds, it says the indigenous funding for urban communities in distressed areas throughout these 50 states. Now you tell me how many of y'all seen a bunch of Indians running around the hood talking about they indigenous? Everything's in code. And when they put the wording in code to the people in St. Louis about these funds, they did it intentionally knowing that if they put those funds in that trust fund account offshore, they can manipulate the interest. Because in the wording that the Fed sent, politicians cannot get a piece of the funding, nor can their immediate family members. So basically, jealousy is striking its ugly head with envy because they can't access the funds, so they decide to pick and choose who they want to access the funds, or should I say, the buddy system. And so right now, the Urban League, let me give you a prime example. Urban League has a program that allows people from the north side to go right to the Urban League, get a free roof, hot water heater, and furnace placed in your house for free called winterization. They foot the bill. How do I know this? Because I send contractors to people's houses and they pay us to do the work all across St. Louis. But if you ask most people about this program, they don't know nothing about it. They take care of the elderly and the people that were inside of the military first. Then they move on down the line to everybody else. They don't even have enough contractors to do it because it's so hush hush. They're supposed to be out basically canvassing, trying to get contractors to come to Mission St. Louis and to the Urban League to work these programs. They're sitting on millions. Craig Washington is the director of winterization. Otha Thompson is the person that comes out and inspects the work after it's done for the Urban League. See, the city of St. Louis is not informing their people, man. That's basically what's going on. Government is supposed to protect the rights of the people. However, we become pawns because not knowing what's going on allows you to be duped out of millions that you have rightfully coming to you. And the biggest misconception about this money is that it's somewhere far. No, it's at the push of a button. Listen to what I'm trying to explain to you. Chad Egan sent me a map of every city that received the funding. Then he broke down the criteria of how the funding was being spent. They have millions of dollars just going to women on what is called a woman's fund across the United States. See, the woman's fund is designed to get the woman stay home and learn how to really parent her family versus being out working in the streets every day where the children run amok. So in the women's fund, they're giving women that stay home moms money like a salary to parent. CD ain't gonna tell y'all about that. You have money for dental, for your health, for medication, for your bills, They have funds for they have a voucher for you to get a car. They haven't told you about that. See, it's so many things that this program covers because during the crisis of COVID, they sent out investigators from the EDA to monitor what was going on in the pandemic. And doing so, as monitoring St. Louis, I met a lot of people that came here from Washington, D.C. And let me make it clear to y'all. I've been knowing about the indigenous rights of people since Obama passed that in 2011. So basically, what the Washington, D.C. said is when you call them, they make it very clear. Everyone that is of melanated skin tone who was born in America has a huge payday coming if you stay in distressed areas. They do not say anything about Caucasian people receiving the funding. They don't say nothing about people in politics receiving the funding. They said poor people that live in distressed areas. St. Louis was in the top three of crime, the top three of poverty, and number one with home displacement per capita. Now, with these things being said, they sent so much money to these St. Louis politicians to figure out how to disperse it to you. The first thing Chad said, the number one problem throughout the United States they had on the first year dispersing these funds was that you're trying to take people that make a budget less than $60,000 on how to give millions away to people. So they had to teach them how to do it. That's why they set up an investigator in every major city who got the funds. So what I suggest you brothers and sisters do is you should look up the EDA's website, go on there, study it for about 24 hours, then contact these people and ask them the same questions that your politicians down here locally are not telling you because they're going to divulge the information to you. See, Freedom of Information Act covers this entire process of where the funds is going and who's supposed to receive them. All St. Louis City was supposed to do was be a trustee and a treasury to report back to them and say we're running low on funds. It has a consistency clause that comes with the funding, which basically means when they start getting low, every 90 days you're supposed to send a quarterly report and they re-up you. See, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but I can tell you right now, Republicans have been reaching out to my office basically trying to get me to do interviews with them because they're trying to use this information to destroy Democrats that's in office right here locally. However, I came over here because Mr. Prince Carter, when I met him about a week and a half ago, because this is how fast this got put together, I knew her and Mr. Willie Boyd. We had a conversation with Mr. Eugene Gordon at his office on Washington about a month ago with Mr. Lance Knuckles when he was explaining what he was going to make happen. So I took these young people right here down there with me so I could get other voices and other ears to hear what this man is about to lie about. And I'm telling you, he's a flat out liar. Because listen, in front of her and in front of him and in front of Mr. Eugene Gordon and a few other people, I asked him verbatim, did St. Louis City receive funding from SLDC receive funding from the EDA for the Second Chance Recompete pilot program? He said no more than one time. He said no more than one time because he didn't know I was sitting there holding the paperwork with everybody in the entire United States who received the funding. In those documents, it tells you inside of the state of Missouri what organizations received the funding. So, SLDC, right here in the city of St. Louis, received the funding for the people on the north side, but they were not supposed to create programs to where you're not receiving direct payment. The programs they were created were workforce programs in conjunction to giving you direct payments and affording these businesses the things that they were supposed to get during the crisis when they fell short of funds. So you were supposed to get re-upped by SLDC by way of Joe Biden giving you your reparations. And let's be real, I'm gonna tell you something. It's reparations coded. Because if you understand what Title 42 is, USC, that's the Social Security Administration as well as Social Services. When they reclassify people's status, It's been dislocated. You have to go by lawful terminology. And the lawful terminology that Washington, D.C. has sent to St. Louis chose to ignore it, which is a federal crime. See, on page 32 of this EDA paperwork they sent me, it tells you about the fraud clause, where certain politicians throughout the United States start trying to manipulate the funding. They already done touched down with them, served them with federal subpoenas. A lot of them have lost offices that tried to pull the same maneuver that other politicians pulled. But I'm telling you that everything that's dealing with your money, you can actually download it and it tells you why you're supposed to get it when they send it to St. Louis and how you keep getting more because it's based off each person's family and your family size. So let's just say Mr. Willie Boyd came down there and stated that he had 5 children. They would look at his 5 children, the needs and necessities, and if they've got children, which is grandchildren, and they would assess it. That's what St. Louis City was supposed to do. The development corporations were supposed to take what you say to them and process the information about what you need to get a check. No one's check was going to be the same because no one's family is the same. Then they have the funding for mental illness. You see, the same funding that you see them trying to apply to these programs where they get on board with St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and St. Charles to have committees that oversee crime and things of that nature. The funding wasn't for that either, y'all. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The funding was directly for you, no one else. It's in the verbiage. So if you don't know about your funding, they're able to take it, do with it what they will, because they never informed you. In 2021, if you go on YouTube, Lance did a Q&A about the Recompete pilot program. And I guess he forgot that he did that Q&A because it's him giving an interview speaking about what he's going to do with the funding. Your local mayor, she hired Neil Richardson and she hired Lance Knuckles. So if you go on their page, it tells you when they first got into office, the SLDC, and they took the people's place that they took, that they were about to make inclusion for the people in the North Side to be able to obtain property at an easier rate than they did with all the red tape through LRA before. Now, the feds addressed that too because they sent them funding to give to private owners who own property and young men and women to rehab those properties called restabilization. It's called Proposition NS. I helped write it in 2017 and 18. Laura Ginn is the woman that's over the project. Basically, it's like this. Let's just say this gentleman has a vacant building that's sitting beside his house. Well, he's supposed to call this man named Sean Thomas down at LRA and Zach. They come out, and what they basically do is they look at the building and they assess it. Is it worth saving or if it's not? It takes about 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, they come and say, well, Mr. Such and Such, since you nominated the building, there are funds just to stabilize the building, not to rehab it, to stabilize it. It's $30,000 a single unit and up to $50,000 on the bid for a 2-family flat. These funds were designed to give to your local people in the local communities. Lance told Miss Coffee, told myself and my man, Mr. Willie Boyd, that come January and February, he would have a program to where you could basically get paid to cut grass for the parcels between $150 to $300 per grass, as well as clean the yards up and get additional funding. That's being held up. So all these programs they speak about are to keep you quiet so that you basically can get nominated to be someone that gets on the grant team, or should I say the buddy system. But the bigger issue is that as long as they hold the money hostage and you don't know about it, then they themselves can live off some interest. And they didn't hesitate. Let me explain to you what I mean he didn't hesitate. Mr. Darrell Smith works at the SLDC. And the day that we went down there with Mr. Carter a couple weeks ago, he stated emphatically that, yeah, we hired people. We give them a $200,000 budget just to help us Learn how to spend the money for y'all. Listen to what I'm saying. The man said they give out a $200,000 contract to different companies to aid and assist them on how to spend y'all's money. Paul McKee, they're trying to figure out a way to take y'all's money and put it in his pocket so he can start developing these properties on the north side. Listen, none of those funds are controlled with this account. Listen to what I'm saying to you. This account is just y'all's money. The HARPA funds are the EDA money. It's coded. The Recompete Pilot Program is the EDA, is the HARPA funds that they keep telling y'all about. See, Chad Egan is the man you got to speak to, you guys. Before I leave, I'm gonna give all y'all his number because he's in Jeff City, but he's from Washington D.C. So every city that had to go through the phase of being studied to get the money for distress programs, they wrote him the blueprint. See, Lance's office in the city of St. Louis, they wrote on you guys' behalf. Y'all didn't know nothing about it. So when the funds came in, they were supposed to contact you by way of email, telephone, or public announcement, like most other cities and states did. This has been going on for 3 years. While other cities have been dropping crime and reducing crime, and the city been lying about it, giving you statistical reports that don't even make sense. And they had a man on the news just come on and tell them that his data reports, based off them studying the statistic of crime going up and down, he said that's a false statement that the police chief made and the mayor made. Because we know it's a false statement. When they stop answering the phone, which is the 911 calls, you cannot report crime if you don't answer the phone call. So they're trying to counter anything and everything that takes place in the city they don't want you to know about. Let me touch on a subject that took place in 2020 real quick to camel back on. There was a family on page in front of my home that got killed during what they call Operation Legend. One of them was a singer, it was a young boy and a girl, it was an older young gentleman, and it was all over the news when they said they was chasing that young man who had started the chess club on Page and Grand. They said he had a gun. They said he just got into some violence. He was a business owner. So what I'm basically going to tell y'all is this. The day that I spoke out to the world about this man and how these people did this young boy, the feds came and run up in that house, 35 agents deep. I wasn't even there. Just because I spoke out about it. I put Attorney General, at the time it was Barr, because I witnessed everything that took place. The officers ran this man down in a car, crossed over the lanes, chasing him in broad daylight at 4:45 in the afternoon. Caught it on my ring cam. So many cars and people got hurt, cars flipped over. They had a standoff because they left the boy's body out there. This St. Louis City Police Department. So when I did a speech about that on the news with Andy Banker, I've been catching hell ever since. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not saying this lightheartedly. I'm saying this because my family worry about my safety for me speaking out on things that take place that these fools down there are doing that y'all don't know nothing about. Well, I ain't scared, you know what I'm saying? But it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost. But if you don't do something to stick together as a unity and a community, then you're not going to get things accomplished. So I'm only bringing this information to y'all because Mr. Carter was emphatic about his passion to get that money and to get this message brought to some of y'all that's concerned people that need to know about it. And so, I just take full responsibility from Chad Egan to express the information that he gave me to make sure y'all get it because the man is really trying to do a little different and make a change in the city with the funding that he sits on. When I spoke to him about the schools, he considerably said, if you can get a petition signed, I can write a check. You understand what I'm saying? We in a crisis, and St. Louis is considered to be one of the most ground zero places that is looking like Beirut in Lebanon. Yeah, North City. And I'm just telling y'all flat out, man, it's a shame that we got politicians who are taking millions and keeping it away from the people that can change their own community. You know, if you go on the north side, which we're sitting at right now, we're at a library. This is clean. Most places don't look clean like this in the library, but I guarantee you, if you go over on Jefferson and 40 and go in the same library, it's going to look 10 times better than this. If you go over here on Euclid and Forest Parkway, the library looks 10 times better than this. So what I'm saying to you is that they leave us in destitute. They leave us with crummy streets, poor sanitation. Look at how these streets and these communities look with the trash and the vacant buildings that's falling down. However, these funds I'm telling you about, you don't even have to send your child to go get a job when he can go right down to the city of St. Louis to sign up for Proposition NS, and they give him to a contractor that pays him $1,000 a week to help him with the buildings. That's a $25 an hour salary for a young man that's 18. Now, if the young man will get certified to do what he do, he can make $150,000 a year just tearing down 3 buildings with him, or stabilizing 2. So it's a way to get your funds up in your community to where you really don't have to go outside your community to look for work, because they brought the money here for you to work your community by them steady giving you the funds to build up the things that you need to build up around your community. And let's be clear, there ain't never been a politician that came in and took care of a household. Their job is to get votes based off what they say they're going to do. So if I'm saying something wrong, why haven't they disputed what I'm saying? Because I've been saying it for 3 years to the people. You understand? This information is public information. It's not like it magically appeared because I'm real cool with this European guy from Washington, D.C. No, it's public information that we just studied and found out that, hey, Detroit, Michigan got this amount, Chicago got this amount, Little Rock, Arkansas got this amount, Joplin, Missouri got so much millions of dollars based off a tornado. Then he explained to me that people in rural areas, hear me out when I tell you this, people in rural areas got money to dig wells for well water. See, nobody was left without funding. It tells you that in the wording, the way they send it. There's not a man, woman, and child in no city or state under the United States jurisdiction that was supposed to be without. They gave so many billions of dollars for communities to take care of their own mental illness patients, which basically means this. Y'all seen all these home health cares where you get paid to take care of your loved ones now, right? Well, they were paying people to adopt their own family members and help them get their medication. They would pay you for it through the EDA rescue program. I sent pictures of this man. Let me explain this to you. The churches that used to sit right here on Kings Highway is burned down. There's a little building in the back of it. There was a homeless man standing there with no legs in a wheelchair. I used to take him food. Well, I took him, his pictures and stuff, because he wouldn't get in the truck up to SLDC. Chad went and got some people from the VA to pick this man up. St. Louis City didn't do nothing. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Chad went and got some people from the VA to pick him up. Got him to the VA hospital and out of the cold. Y'all might have seen him. He used to be sitting in front of the Snooks, drinking beer, acting crazy with no legs, just bleeding. When I told the people at SLDC about it, Stacy Fowler at the Sumner office, she said she was going to do something about it. They didn't do nothing. That's why I told Chad. See, I tried to reach locally and follow the chain of command, but they're not listening. It's deaf ears. So I commend all y'all for coming out and listening. However, the work is when you contact Chad or the EDA to express to them what's going on in your community, on your block. How many vacant houses sit on your mother's street? How many dead children sit in these vacant houses right now that they haven't discovered? You see, they give money to those who ride around. There's some Caucasian men right now every morning that get up, ride around to homeless encampments who get paid to do it from federal funding, just taking pictures and telling the people where warm shelters are at, or they put them in the car and drop them off to a warm shelter. They show it on Fox 2 and Channel 4 News in the morning time. Those are y'all's funds. The same funds they sent y'all to make sure these children have basically people out there to monitor the children getting on the bus. Those are y'all's funds. The same funds they have for you to take the opportunity to go to these schools. Just run down, board it up, make assessments with community organizers. Chad is the one that can help you open these schools back up with curriculums. The only thing he can't do is tell you how to bid the jobs out to get the buildings back in order, because it's got to be outsourced. You can't do it yourself. But everything else, from the director to what's going in the building to the curriculum, this is what he does. It's infrastructure, but it starts from the bottom up. Even the president said we're starting from the bottom up. And he said, if you need more money, contact us. I mean, it does not get more simpler than that. I'm not a politician. I'm not running for office, man. I'm telling y'all, I'm just a chairman of the Moore Side Symbol of America, trying to aid and assist, following humanity and doing some works, because I got 8 grandchildren and 6 children and more to come. However, I grew up in a situation where I seen some of the worst things you can see in this city. So as a parent and a grandparent, I'm trying to do my part in changing the narrative. There is nobody that comes to St. Louis to visit Northside. People come to St. Louis to dump off their trash, score some dope, pick up a prostitute, and get drunk. And eat a little bit of Mr. Prince Carter's barbecue. But the truth of the matter is this: Northside is a historical place in America. These homes have historical value. They're put on the historical list where they receive about $16,000 to $17,000 every 3 years just for the upkeep from the federal government. You guys are not being told about that either. Uh, when you look up the word erected and built, your building has 2 different dates. One is the erected date if you live in the north side, and one is the built date. The built date is the date when someone took over jurisdiction. Things changed, but the erected date is when the parcel that goes back to your address shows that someone else owned that property and is grandfathered in. So whoever owns those addresses, they receive federal aid and assistance for those properties. And the north side and New Jersey are the number 1 and 2 states, excuse me, 1 and 2 cities in America that's listed as the oldest cities with the most historical bricks on the buildings. And so if you got any house that's on the north side, just like the LRA property, they tell you the building is worth so much, the insurance company will tell you they can only insure your building up to $1 million, but it's worth more just because of the bricks. In 2019, before Mr. Sam Moore passed away, that was the alderman in my neighborhood. I used to do a lot of business with him. So the Gray Storage Building right there on Whittier and Martin Luther King that was torn down, that sits across the street from the Harlem Tap Room. When they tore that building down, the company that got the contract was from the South Side. They weren't supposed to get the contract. The contract was supposed to go for the North Side people on the North Side. Because when the building got torn down, the bricks got auctioned off to Greece and Rome. St. Louis City made over $450,000 just off the bricks alone, and almost $200,000 off the wood, because the wood is antique, historical. And what they do is they take the wood out these buildings, the beams, and they take it to a miller, and they make new wood out of it. And they charge an arm and a leg, and they send it all across the United States. So you think you're sitting on something that you don't understand what it is. The city knows exactly what they got. That's why they make it hard for you to get the LRA properties and the CDA properties. Laura Costello, she was the one over the land bank before Neil Richardson took her place. The land bank is where city residents, especially North Side people, you didn't even have to go get a loan from your own private institution. If you obtained the property from the city, the land bank was supposed to cover you on partial payments to rehab the building. The federal government stepped in and took on the rest of the payments for you because it's property preservation. These are the things that y'all are not knowing because they're not informing you. They tell you what they want you to hear and let you know what they think you need to know. However, crime in St. Louis is so great that the people they interviewed at the Blues game said they've never seen nothing like it. Man got killed a block from the Blues game while the game was going on, and they heard the shots, and he died on the street on Pine. And some of them had to walk past his body getting back to their parked cars. And we do it all the time. But crime is down. So the main thing is that if the programs that the city was creating and the money the city was giving to certain institutions to help you were working, why hasn't the Urban League told you guys about all of the programs they're giving funding for elderly families and people that need water heaters and furnaces for free? Well, I know they hadn't told you because listen, it's a hush hush. Like I told you, Craig Washington and Otha Thompson are the people you need to speak to at Urban League. Craig Washington on page. St. Louis City gave them a whole bunch of money for this program. A whole bunch of money. An average furnace costs you $1,000. A friend of mine who is he's on Locust. I ain't gonna tell you his address, but he's on Locust. They put in a hot water heater, a brand new furnace, a new meter, rewired his house. Bill came to be 18 some $1,000. I know the contractor that did it because I'm the one referred him to it. The same man I'm telling you about, they're about to put a roof on his house. The requirements to get you a roof put on your house is that you just got to get 3 bids. Because listen, if they don't spend the money, they got to return it. These are different funds, but they're all part of the American Rescue Plan. Concept is, if you don't know that you got money, how you going to spend it? How you going to utilize it? So the concept that I'm looking at is that information is the only key to get y'all up to par of what's going on. Because to be conscious means to be aware. And you have to know that these people are playing with your money, telling you different stories, making up lies that don't make sense. Because I'm telling you, the moment that you contact the EDA and they tell you what website to download, it's right there in your face. And they're not going to sugarcoat it to you either. They're going to tell you the people that was formerly known as Negro, Black, and Colored are now known as indigenous people. This they money. So anytime the feds put money out there for you and tell you they got clauses to where politicians can't touch it, see, the hip thing they did was they figured out a way to manipulate the funds by keeping it in the bank and moving the interest. See, Tashara just told y'all about she feels like St. Louis should win by utilizing the interest. Am I right or wrong, Mr. Carter? Matter of fact, tell her verbatim what she said.
She was talking about the funds for the Rams, and she said that they wanted to put the funds in the bank and work off the interest and save the money for a rainy day when it's been raining in North St. Louis for over 40 decades.
Yeah. So she used to be the treasurer, so she knows how to maneuver money. You understand what I'm saying? And like Chad said, anytime you put this amount of money in front of people who are not used to dealing with this type of funding, it corrupts them even more than what they are. You know what I mean? So I could basically understand why he was explaining this to me because they sent him down to monitor the funds from Washington, D.C. His office is in Jeff City. They made every investigator that monitors these funds set up an office in the capital of every state that got the funds. It's two things we're doing. First of all, is awareness. Okay, to inform you is one thing. After you get the information, it's something else. Uh, what we're doing at the Morris Science Temple of America with other people, we're getting a petition together because federal agents have already said it is a law being broken. It's federal funding that was sent to you in a crisis being withheld. Mr. Carter has a clock that tells you how long the money's been held hostage. See, these funds were not just given to the city to say, hey, have a good time with some money that we sent y'all because we love y'all so much in the city of St. Louis. They were meant to give out to the people that needed, that was in despair. It tells you when I read this, people were not in the job force no more. People retired. People got sick. All type of things take place in a crisis. You can't plan for a crisis. However, you can give the people that's going through some crisis some money. They are protected by the Constitution. Remember, this is a constitutional issue. It tells you in the wording. That's why they attach Title 42 to the money. But once again, like I told you, the legal department in the city of St. Louis maneuvered, and their maneuver was to put it in an account. And let me explain this to you to go even further. Bill, what was that bill that they voted on?
82 and 37. 82 and 37.
So, so the new bill was 82. Yeah. Ordinance number 71504, Board Bill number 82, as amended, Exhibit 1. It says appropriation amount corridor for use of funds, $5 million for North Grand Corridor, $9,600,000 for Dr. Martin Luther King Corridor, 1.2 million for Florissant Avenue Corridor, 600,000 for North Broadway Corridor, 5,700,000 for Natural Bridge Avenue Corridor, 5,550,000 for West Florissant Avenue Corridor, 1.1 million for Delmar West Corridor, 1.3 million for Delmar East Corridor, 1.25 for Goodfellow Corridor, 4.5 million for Union, $500,000 for Page, $825,000 for area-wide benefit projects, planning, marketing, and consulting, which totals the $37 million they keep throwing in y'all's face, which is an illusion. Just collecting interest. No, the $37 million is just something they put in your face to make you go left when they going right. So look, basically, the funding was sent here not for them to disperse it the way they want to. You were supposed to receive the money based off the needs of your family. And the businesses that suffered were supposed to receive money then based off their assessments of what they lost. So how do we get apply for it? No, we have to subpoena them. See, listen, they're not answering anything to common folk. Jesus taught equality, but these people bigger than Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Well, I'm a Muslim, but they bigger than Jesus. Matter of fact, they bigger than God in their eyes because they playing God with your funds that the Fed sent to alleviate the distress and to minimize the crime. Listen, y'all, I'm not a saint. I done been penitentiary. And I'm telling you, flat out, anytime you take people and you take away their livelihood and a means to make money, they're going to revert to whatever's best and however they can get those funds. And so cause and effect is what we're looking at. These young men know they supposed to have some money. They know $10 an hour ain't gonna cut it when they got children. They know their baby mama is on their back, but they willing to pick up that Mac 10, that AK, and that dope and get out there in the middle of the night and get it how they live. I can only tell you how the streets is, man. I done survived it. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. However, we can change. But change comes from above. And the Creator sent a blessing to us. And when Joe Biden signed that bill and sent that money to the people in the city of Northside, listen, it should have been a jubilee. But yet and still, it's been a curse, a gift and a curse, because those that's managing the money, they can't sleep at night because they're trying to figure every day a way to maneuver some more funds. When you have men, and I hope y'all don't take this the wrong way, but I'm an alpha male. I can't take advice from a demasculated man. And when I go down to SLDC, I have to talk to a bunch of homosexual men. You understand me? So that's not my character. And to go to talk to some homosexual men about some funding, and they not even from St. Louis, is really a slap in the face. Because most of them are from out of town and out of state. But I'm not a racist. And I believe in equilibrium and equality for all. Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us that, you can't change man's God. God's man today may not be his God tomorrow. However, we supposed to aid and assist humanity in the best way we can. And all I'm explaining to y'all is that we're being kicked in the rear by our own people. And they built their campaigns and they got in these offices based off what they said they was going to do by rejuvenating the north side. Mr. Carter, I don't know if you can show this, but I text you 2 emails on your text about what Mr. Neil Richardson's platform was when he first got hired and what Lance's platform. If you go on the website and look them both up in 21 when they got here, both of them built their platforms by the north side and what they were going to do for the north side. Now, as a man and as a father and a grandparent, I sympathize with them to a point because it's a lot of responsibility that was put on their backs to get his money out. However, they asked for this. The man told us one of his associates, Mr. Darrell Smith, in front of Mr. Carter, myself, Miss Coffee, he explained they've been hiring people in corporations paying $200,000 salaries just to help them to figure out how to spend money. Well, that's what I asked him. I said, why did y'all go out of town to find people to hire when you could have come to the north side and picked out people and started the committee with people on the north side? Right here is Mr. Carter, Miss Coffee, my man right here. A lot of people who have education and skills under their belt to organize people. This is a community problem, not a world problem. But if crime stays the way it is, it's going to be a world problem because they're going to send the National Guard in here and shut it down. Listen, crime is so bad, the only major grocery store that we have on the north side is the Snooks. The one on Grand, they closed the second door to it because some youngsters ran a car up in there stealing. So when your grocery stores are not safe to shop in, and your mother and father can't go to the gas station and get gas because they about to start closing some of these gas stations about crime and a nuisance. It all starts from home. Listen, I'm a father, but I understand this. Man can't do a woman's job. It's impossible. It's virtually impossible. When a boy as a child cries, he don't run to daddy, he run to mama. So if mother got to stay away from home, and her teenage boys is trying to raise his teenage younger boys and sisters, but he got to go out and push a pack and leave them unattended, this is the breakdown of our society. The reason why their fathers are not in the homes because the fathers been ran out the homes, man. See, listen, this goes back way back to the 80s when Social Security and the Social Service Administration decided to give women a check and tell them they can't have fathers in the home if they accept this check. So the breakdown of this society started 35, 40, 50 years ago. Listen, be real with yourself. After civil rights went dead with MLK, the world went in chaos. See, what we're going to do about this money is right here. At the end of the day, we got to get a petition signed. And it's that simple.
Playing that game, and I'm saying it's time to put feet to the pavement and get these signatures, get this petition. And I see a lawsuit in the makings, a class action lawsuit, because that's the only thing that they're going to understand, and that's the only way we're going to really get true justice. There needs to be some accountability. We shouldn't have to go through this. And they still changing. And they're still changing. Well, and that's to do what they've been doing. A lot of people got discouraged and just gave up and not even pursuing it anymore.
Yeah, well, what I want to say, Prince, is that first, okay, it was the sustainability, the startup, and expansion fund. And we were clearly told, can I take one?
Sure.
Stabilization, expansion, and a startup. And we were clearly told it didn't matter if you made a lot of money, if you didn't have any money. It was the new non-for-profits, which I own a non-for-profit as well. And then, so a lot of us applied.
And I told, everybody I know, first it was not enough people. It was less than 200 people. So it was like, nobody knows. So then we all run around and we go get more and more people. Then it became 760 people by the time they closed it October the 30th. Now they're saying they have too many people. Everybody's not going to get the funds. Okay, we didn't have meetings, private meetings with Lance Knuckles. We didn't have private meetings with Darrell Smith. We didn't have several private meetings, a group of us. Okay, and we were told clearly, oh, it doesn't matter. I said, well, I'm told that Paul Keys got his hand in the pot, and we already know the history about him. Okay, St. Louis City money, from the beginning, it said St. Louis City money is for St. Louis residents, city residents who have businesses in St. Louis, or if you have a non-for-profit in St. Louis. That's where that money was supposed to go. But now we got people who don't live in the city are bringing businesses to the city and getting our money. Okay, we got people that don't even live in the state of Missouri that is opening businesses in St. Louis City and in line to get our money. And then we were told that when they said, well, Copy, your business really haven't made any money. And so how are we going to be giving businesses who haven't made any money? They said some people out here asking for $1 million and their business ain't never even made $50,000. Why would we give them $1 million? Their business ain't never made. That's the reason why they need some goddamn money, okay? That's the reason why they need it. Somebody who made $6 million, why you need the money? You should have done what it needed to do with the money you got. The people who don't have any money is the ones that need the money for the business. I grew up in the North Side. I grew up on Margaret. I graduated from Ashland. I went to Beaumont, okay? And everything was black owned over here. We bought our shoes from Yellow Ball, and we even bought our bolo bats there, okay? We had C&K Barbecue. We had Cox Cleaners, Cox Laundromat. Did we not? Everything was black owned. We even had a black gas station, a mobile, by the brothers right there on Lee and Clarence, right? Okay? And it's all gone. We have, a couple black automotive places. We got Willie Boyd's place over on Penrose and West Florissant, Prairie and West Florissant. We still have a barbecue place. Even though they took C&K, we got something better. We got Prince, okay? But we don't have nowhere near what we had, fam. So then I told him, I said, well, I see what you're saying is for a business that's not used to making money, why they want money. And I told them why I feel they should get them, because I'm one of them business. My non-for-profit ain't made a quarter. Now, I can lie and put it all down, but I'll be going to jail like the rest of them people did with their lying, making all that what it need to do, right? So I know my business ain't made no money because the money that took to finance my business came out of my pocket. Okay? With the majority of us, we're financing our own business. And you can't tell me we don't need it. Crime is an issue, a big issue. Okay? And so I have my little meetings in my house. I ain't scared of the ex-convicts or the gangbangers or the single parents, okay? Because that's my family, okay? Ain't no secret. If they ain't my family, they know my family, or know somebody that know my family that knew my family, right? So you can't say that crime is going down. You can't say that we don't need these programs. How do we need more people who are not from St. Louis, who do not live in the city? But we can't go out in the county and get their money. Sam Page got it down pat. See, the county money is for the county people, for the county businesses. So when you leave here, I hope you consider telling people that who applied, and a whole lot of people didn't apply because the word wasn't even out. The reason why the word went out, they wasn't telling nobody. That's why it took all the way until they changed it August the 1st, new contract. Did a whole new contract. If you applied before August the 1st, like I did, and a lot of us applied before August 1st, then come August 1st, they did a whole new contract. But they kept saying, we don't have enough people. People was calling me that work down there. I ain't got to drop no names right now, but they will be coming, okay? People was calling me, how do we tell the people? We don't know what they need, and we can't get people to apply. So we told the people. And then we told the people, and then they waited all the way until about a month before they closed the deadline. Then you start seeing on TV all these commercials. You start seeing these billboards going up, the Empowerment Center. Then everybody running over to Sumner High School right quick. They kept changing the rules. Now you got to take online classes, Miss Peebles. Okay, I was in them online classes. Okay, first if you take one online class, you get an extra $5,000. So I took the one online class. Then it changed. We're going to up to 4 online classes. So we took the 4 online classes. Well, now there's 12 online classes. And it's no longer you get the extra $5,000. It's mandatory. So they keep changing horses in the middle of the race. And we had enough, family. So if you sick and tired of being sick and tired, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to keep it real. Okay, y'all already know I ran for something. I ain't running for nothing right now. I ain't going to say I may not ever run again. But this I ain't no politician. Let's get it clear. I was just willing to do the job, okay? I have been offered jobs downtown. I'm broker than a joke, and I ain't got to perpetrate. I ain't got to front it. I know I'm broke, okay? But I'm not taking them jobs. People coming to me saying, Coffee, you can work down such, I can get you on such, you're going to hire you. I know it. But if I take those jobs downtown, guess what? I don't qualify for the grant. Conflict of interest, fam. So these are the games that are being played to keep big mouth people like myself, like Brother Prince, like Brother Nas, and anybody else, Willie Boy, who ain't no secret, and gonna tell it all. These are the tricks, Brother Bob, that is to keep us closed, to silence our voice, family. So I'm signing that petition. I want to be first on the list. You be second. And thank you so much, Prince, for putting this on. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Sister Carter. I did not want to allow folk to be able to say that we were now frustrated and angered about this whole process of seeking these emergency funds. I can't say it enough. COVID-19 devastated my business. Prior to COVID-19, I was doing fine. The challenges and the hurdles and the obstacles that were plagued with during COVID and after COVID, my business is still suffering. So it hurts me to know that the federal government sent some funds for my business and my community, and my local elected officials are holding those funds hostage as of 1,060 days and counting. So uh, this latest news I heard about them boasting about they want to start new startup business. They want to help people start up business, but you won't help the businesses that's already existing. Okay, let's be clear about this. How would you even begin to start up businesses without stabilizing and aiding and assisting the businesses that are already in existence? The president said it, and I can't stop saying it. I heard it with my own ears. Start building from the bottom up, starting with the HUD census tract. That was the message. That was the assignment. They understood. They understood. But what Lance Knuckles told me was, you believe that much in your president, as if to say that the contingency clause was non-existing. So we can talk about this all night. I'm at a place where I'm tired of having meetings. I'm tired of jaw jabbing. I want to put some action in front of my words. And this petition and lawsuit is what we're going to have to be about the business of doing. That's the only way they're going to take us serious. They're going to continue to blatantly disrespect us and disregard us as a people, as a community, if we do not take the necessary action. I'm praying that we are successful with these meetings in the days to come. Now, I know I kind of threw some folks that know me with a left curve because all my life I've been a diehard Democrat. I've been Democrat all my life. But I was so frustrated that I decided to reach out to every elected official that governs my area, regardless to their affiliation and party. And none of my folks would call me back. None of them. I couldn't get a call back from my alder person. I couldn't get a call back from my mayor. I couldn't get a call back from my state rep. I couldn't get a call back from my congresswoman. But the Republican people said, we'll see what we can do to help. Now, they may or may not help. But if I don't go and talk to them, I won't know. They won't unless I go and see if they're really willing to help. Because my thing is now, we need to be about the business of not allowing this to happen again, because there's more money coming. Okay? So why continue to depend on the people that have let us down already and being overseeing those funds? Let's get ties directly with the federal government so that the people can, whatever we need to do, register, whatever program we need to go through, to identify who we are and where we live and where our business is, and be on record with that and be certified that we can get these funds directly from the federal government. That's what I'm on.
Make it on record. I support who support me. So can we lay out
It shouldn't take long.
So here's an idea right here. His shop could be ground zero for the petition signing. Basically, we could have him put the form up, and every day people come in and sign the petition, and other businesses with it.
Business that has a business.
And then in less than, I say, 30 days, we get all the documents that are signed.
Make it 2 weeks,
Or
boss.
2 weeks. Okay, let's. Okay, I was just giving y'all some time to move. I'm a man of action. 2 weeks. We'll make it 2 weeks.
If I had it my way, it would be a week.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we want as many as possible.
Oh,
All we need is 300. No, I'm just saying all we need is 300 to push it. But to get as many as possible means no man, woman, or child is left behind.
And let's be clear on this. Okay. 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 We all agree on that. You are. You volunteered. You've already been assigned. Okay. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We should be able to draft this by tomorrow. I'm thinking, and then I can make copies, and I think every business can even get, your customers that come in, the people in your community that are not aware of this. We can get them involved. Well, if churches, I'm a church man, and if we can find some churches that'll help us, and I would love to see the churches should really be supporting us on this. I really think they should, because this is not about just my business or your business, his business. It's about our community as a whole. That these funds have been held hostage and holding us back.
and it needs to be clear about the language that they keep changing the language because what businesses qualify and which ones.
We're gonna jump over all that. Hmm.
He did state that that's where it was supposed to start at in your local religious communities, where they got the memos.
Hmm.
Some of the churches got funding, y'all.
Already.
Listen, a lot of Caucasian churches got funding because they were, as I'm saying, they were giving humanitarian assistance back to those that need. So
With the different food banks and what have you.
just funding for everything: clothes, food, and shelter, and rental assistance. See, the places that you see that got rental assistance, it's under the Carriers Rescue Plan. They got their money. Okay. So we had a bigger portion on the north side. That's why I went to SLDC straight. Right. So the money Mission St. Louis got was a portion from your money to give back to you. Right. They were paid as a distributor, same way the Urban League. Like, not only does the Urban League offer the winterization, they do the aid and assistance for your rental assistance. So the Fed sent enough money to where your rent will be paid for a year. Mm-hmm. You understand?
There was a clause in this package where, when the president spoke about increasing minimum wage to $15 an hour, and the small businesses, they would help them with financing that for the first year. That's where the contingency clause came. I keep saying, think about it. Let's use a little common sense. $9 million to redevelop Martin Luther King from Jefferson to the city limits. Come on now, make it make sense. All right, there was a contingency. They gave them that much to get started because they know about the historical corruption of our local politicians, that they didn't want to overdo it, and they wanted to keep enough money out there that they can watch and get it to the people in a form of an emergency, and that hasn't been done. And that's the reason I'm counting these days, and I'm asking you all to not leave here today, not leave here tonight with business as usual. We got to get this petition signed and get it drafted within the next 24 hours, get it signed within the next week. It shouldn't take us more than a week to get these signatures. Well, I'll have them tomorrow. If I have to write it myself, when y'all don't want me to do that, because it'd be a bunch of misspelled words.
Petition will be done tomorrow. I have it in his office, in his restaurant, and you can pull up on both sides.
And I also have copies where you can take it and get signatures and bring it back too. Okay, we're gonna hit this hard and fast and heavy. And once we get these petitions signed, uh, I think we should.
Okay, once the petition is signed, petition goes to the EA, but also it goes down to the federal court. One that resides inside of Northside city limits. How far west? I mean, how well south? It stops at Wells. Stops at Martin Luther King. No, it stops at Wells.
City limit to Wilson.
Everything belongs to black people. Okay.
Okay.
You really want to get the elders who own the property their name signed because see, they were supposed to receive their money first from the city, y'all. That's in the clause of being city too.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't get it.
I was supposed to get y'all money first.
Okay. And see, those are the things that by signing this petition and getting these petitions signed, it really lets them know that what the city has been telling them about everything's under control when it really ain't.
So Pamela Boyd is our auto person, right?
Well, yeah, she's not my alder person. She's one of the alder persons.
Let me be clear about this. Some of your aldermen are going to be on the lawsuit as well as the subpoenas. Because listen, we playing the I ain't gonna hold no punches, nor am I gonna sugarcoat it. They were informed before they received the money that they cannot touch it, they cannot barter, they cannot create anything that goes against what they were originally supposed to do. So a lot of y'all's alder people are two-faced, same snake, yeah, big tongue. Uncle Tom, they basically told you one thing and they went inside and voted on it, and they knew they wasn't supposed to even vote on it. There was nothing to vote on besides who is giving who this amount on this side of town and this side of town and this ward. That was it. Everything that you seen was extra. So all I'm telling you is that some of those same alderwomen and aldermen that you speak to and know about, niggas, they're going to be on those subpoenas because they weren't supposed to do that.
And they knew it.
They knew
it. That was another tactic that they used to prolong this and get us to where we are today. But I don't want to harp on that. I want to stay focused, and I'm gonna ask you all to understand. I'm serious about talking to these other people to see what they have to offer because I've never talked to them, and unless you talk to them, you never know. 2700 Union, Union in Northland. You're right. And you can also all my information is on social media. You can catch me on Facebook, YouTube. You can contact me, all those different avenues.
I'm gonna add something. A lot of y'all are homeowners, right? And I'm gonna use Miss Coffee as a prime example. Uh, Her house and square footage is available to receive tons of funds from SLDC. See, they sent the money because the houses are historical. And by these houses being historical, they had to hire. One of the best things they did come up with, they figured out a plan with myself and others to take people from the city of St. Louis and put the funds in their hands by letting them restore the buildings. So they just can't tear the building down. That's why they're still standing. See, the federal government told them that the buildings are a historical part of the country. So we send you funding for these buildings on the north side to preserve them. And the way that you take and alleviate the neighborhoods is that you put the funding back into the men and women's hands who live adjacent to these properties. So, like I said, Sean Thomas and Zach are the people that you contact about nominating the building. And let's just say Mr. Carter's building right here needs some tuck point and things like that. These same two gentlemen would take contractors that's already certified through SLDC's Proposition NS program, they would come out and do tuck point based off the city, and the city would pay him because his building sits in that same area that's historical. This is how this was supposed to work. However, when they dropped the ball and didn't tell you guys about it, you are now trying to foot the bill on things that was already prepaid for you, which is home repairs. That's inside the wording. Go ahead, my brother. Right. Okay. Well, the city was supposed to. Well, see, the money that the Urban League came from the city. No, no, no. They do. What it is you got to speak to the right person for the right. See, listen, different accounts deal with different programs. So if you contact Otha Thomas up there, he's going to tell you he deals with HVAC and things like that. You call Mr. Washington, he's going to tell you his program is over roofs, electrical components in your house, updates, uh, things like that. He's also over the contractors that get paid because all you do is submit your bid. Let's just say this gentleman needed a roof. He has three roofers from the city of St. Louis. And guess what? The beautiful thing about it is, can't be no outside person from outside the city getting the bid. It has to be a roofer from the city. The roofers come and do the bid, the best bid that you pick. You turn it in to Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington sets up a date for them to come out. He get everything is paid for by them up front because the city gave them the funds to do so. I know they don't because they keep it on the hush hush. It's the buddy system, sir. Slate lost all their contracts. That's the reason why the money went to Mission St. Louis and SLDC. And listen, and was supposed to go to the people with community organizations with boots on the ground. I read that into the wording for you. Community organization with boots on the ground. Millions. Okay. This brother said something about the square footage. So St. Louis is the hottest city in America right now for prices per square footage, right? So what they do is they attract companies by giving them tax break incentives. That tax break incentive is coming out of your money that the Fed sent you because you're not claiming it. So they're letting other people step up to the plate and claim what hasn't been claimed because here's the thing. Chad told me this out of his own mouth. When he reached out to SLDC the last time, they never responded. But he got an email from one of them that stated that they will get back to him real soon. And I told him they never will because if they tell you that they are doing something with the funds and you come down here and you interview these people on the north side and they tell you a different story, he's going to be held accountable. So the square footage thing is exactly how St. Louis City, when they created Proposition NS, was supposed to look at your property and assess it how much they can give you per square foot to do the repairs. The same way contractors give you a bid based off square foot if they doing a roof or doing construction work. It's price and billing and coding. So that was the prefab payment that got the initial money to your home repairs. That's why Mission St. Louis and Urban League were given the funds because they were hired as a contractor, third party, to seek other home repair contractors and pay them to get on a list to go out and repair the elderly people's homes first. And you can contact Mr. Pettis at Mission St. Louis. He's a brother from Kansas City, and he'll confirm it. They pick up homeless people off the streets, give them $25 gas cards, and feed them just to bring them in for an hour program to keep the program going. So I'm explaining this to you. You can go to Mission St. Louis tomorrow, and within 3 days, they'll have a check for you. They were giving money for daycare to give out to women. It's right there on St. Louis. I mean, on Grand and across from Zodiac, the Zodiac Club. They were giving funds to. Sullivan, yes. They were giving funds for you for daycare. All of these funds were given out of the CARES rescue plan money that was sent for you because no one is stepping up claiming it. So the only thing they're telling the city and these agencies are telling the feds is that we don't have the people coming up claiming what they're supposed to receive. So we are the trustees for them. Exactly.
Can I say something to support what this brother said? I was in a meeting. I live on Lewis Place. I was in a meeting with an older woman. She told us one thing. She said that thing about giving $500 to the city was nothing but a fake. That was fake. That was never gonna happen. She told me that. She said, I don't believe that. And the other thing about the Urban League in our area, they came to our association, Lewis Place Association, Fountain Place. They wanted us to support them. They want 19 lots right behind the Urban League or Auburn. They was going to build new construction, new homes, 19 lots. Urban League got a lot of money. Y'all see those two new buildings that they built on the side? Hydroponics. They're going to be growing fruits and vegetables in there. Urban League got all that money. And Mission, the brother, he's talking about what the Mission gave you. They gave me $10,000 also. Yeah, I got $10,000
Okay. For real, yeah. And the man that gave it to you, he explained to you where the money came from, did he or did he not? He didn't. Well, Andy is the man that gives you the money. He's the one that makes you get the check. His name is Andy. So listen, Andy is from out of town, and most of the people that work at Mission St. Louis are from out of town. So exactly. Now they have a basketball gym in there and a swimming pool and all that to attract the youngsters to come in and to get them out of the streets and stuff like that. So if you go up there and talk to them, they start giving you information that the city don't want them to do because they start informing you of what you can get access to, and it has nothing to do about you competing for grants. It is what they call crisis money, already allocated, and all they do is just hold it, and somebody come up there and state what they need. It's Mission St. Louis because Mission St. Louis was given the funds by SLDC to be a contributing partner as trustee. The problem is they only give them limited. Because listen, Mission St. Louis does their job, y'all. I'm gonna explain this to you. They give out so much money they run out, and they gotta wait for the city to re-up them. Because I've seen tons of people up there and they've got their checks. You know what I mean? So they do give the funds. It's just they have to wait for the city to say, here goes some more, y'all. Whatever you need. Mission St. Louis and Urban League takes care of the roofs, the water, the plumbing, anything on the upkeep of the property if you live in those wards. That's why when Miss Coffee said Sam Page is not going to allow you to come out to St. Louis County and touch a dime of the funds they got because he puts a freeze on them. City of St. Louis, they didn't freeze theirs. They allocated the funds to the buddies that they got and the allies that they have. So, well, the buddy system is something that goes in layers. You see, the only reason why an entire staff would lie to its people that it represent is to take the funds and do other things with them. You see, Darrell Smith didn't bite his punch or hold anything when he told in front of Mr. Willie Boyd, myself, and Mr. Carter that they hired contractors to help them learn how to spend this amount of money because they felt uncomfortable. Let's be real, everybody don't know how to spend millions of dollars. That's why Chad stated that they had to go teach people how to spend it in certain agencies because they were never given that type of fiduciary responsibility before in their life. This was a crisis, y'all. So just like Mr. Carter said, when he himself spoke to certain politicians about this, they listened, but when it was time to go in an action mode, they backed away because they already knew what was going on. This is not like this is something that just started. This has been going on. They've been plotting on this money for over 3 years on how to keep it out of your sight, make allies with it, and build up new relationships with wealthy people based off them giving them the tax break and the funding and the grants to do what they want to do.
Let me add something to that. one of the things that, and I'm gonna wrap up, but before we wrap up, I want anyone in here that has anything that they want to add to what has already been said, or if anyone feels that we've left out anything, I encourage you to come forward. But let me say this: when I spoke with uh, 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 the Congresswoman's office, I reached out to the Congresswoman. They kept giving me the runaround. I did finally get one of her representatives that set up a meeting for February 12th. The Congresswoman is supposed to be aware of this. The Congresswoman is supposed to know what's going on in this district as it relates to people not receiving these funds. And she cannot and should not be allowed to be silent on this. And I'm going to continue to try and make sure that she understands the ball has been dropped. And we need answers, and we need these funds to be allocated to our people and our community. I don't want the money just for me. My business is in dire need of financial support post COVID, but I want other folks in my community to get it as well because it was for all of us. It just wasn't for a few or the buddy system. It was for a community of people that were in distress, and that was all of us. So, with that being said, is there anybody else? Anything has been left out? All right, Mr. Boyd.
Yeah, in 2021, they came out with this North St.Louis Commercial Corridor Grant Program, 2021. Now, Louis Reed and them put together Board Bill 82. And in that board bill, they said that you had to have a letter from the alderman in your ward in order to get the grant. So after reading them got in trouble, they said that they was holding up the program because they wanted to rewrite it, and they rewrote Board Bill 37. They said they was going to take the letter obligation out. But when we read Board Bill 37, the letter is still in there where you still got to get something from the older person, even if they're neutral on the fact that you should get the grant. But it still goes to the older. So the pay to play seems to still be in play, you know, and that ain't what it's supposed to be about. This is supposed to be about a distressed community getting some aid. And another thing, there's been too much red tape with this program stuff. They want you to get all this documentation. Then you send the documentation to them. Then they email you back and ask you, did you send it? Then you send it again, and then they say, did you send it again? You know, it's too much red tape. We need to get together, and we need to demand that they give us these funds in some kind of way. Simple as that.
All right. Yes, sir. What would you like to add, sir? What's your name, sir? Okay. What would you like to add?
I'd like to add that February 1st is Black History Month, and I think I sponsor the Black Power Initiative, and that means in North City, East Boogie, and North County, we spend money with black-owned businesses strictly during the month of February. Do not patronize ARAPs, beauty parlors that do not are not owned by black people, and we send a message in 30 days that it's about the money. And money is where it hurts people at. Without money, if you shut white businesses down and people who disrespect you and don't look like you, they gonna have to move and leave the building because we're not supporting their ass no more. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. You know, thank you, brother. Let me interject this real quickly. To further affirm us being indigenous people, we've been stripped down so hard that we got to be reprogrammed to understand the importance of supporting our own people. I don't know nobody else that falls in that category. You know, so we shouldn't have to be taught to support our own people. But because of our miseducation and our history, we are in this position today. But we're not going to harp on it. We're going to fix it. I want to just one last. I saw a hand back there. Sister, you had something you wanted to add? Or it's more than that.
Okay, I'm glad you said something, man, because listen, next month, SLDC holds a meeting every month at their office. You go on the website and they tell you it's a community meeting dealing with the funding and things like that. However, you were never supposed to compete for any funding, ma'am. Listen, the thing is, the city changed all of that by not informing you what you were supposed to do initially when the crisis took place. It has nothing to do about filling out forms. And when I say they, I'm saying SLDC, were told to create a new location to where people didn't have to run downtown. There was in a neighborhood, and that's why Sumner, where Nikki and Stacy Fowler works at, under SLDC, that's their jurisdiction with Miss Eloise as the assistant. So what they do is they were designed to do what you just said. It's not working. They were opened up shop just to help you with your paperwork to where you could get approved for the loan. I mean, for the grant. But the red tape that they created by them, it's so much that they can't even navigate themselves through it. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So everything that they've created under policy that went against what was already laid out on how to give you the funds, they went against it. So it really doesn't make any difference that you go down there and talk to them because they're gonna spin you like they spin everybody else. That is why this meeting is about to move to the solution part of the stage. The petition is part one. 2 weeks later, the petition gets turned in to the EDA as well as to the Federal Eastern District Court of Missouri to a federal judge by the name of Judge White with subpoenas attached to it. And the person that's writing it is you looking at him right now. And so when it goes to those two parties, those subpoenas and those people on those subpoenas got to go to a deposition hearing. In that hearing, St. Louis City residents on the north side, they are basically filing the joint class action suit against these politicians and the mayor's office for going against Title 42 that was sent to protect the funds to go directly to you. Rule number one, the Fed said direct payment. They went against direct payment. That's all I can tell you. They went against a direct payment in a crisis situation to vote and come up with statutes and put money in a bank account and then hold it hostage and come and tell you now fight for it like some dogs if you want it. No, no, no. That's a code word. The ARPA funds are the recompete pilot program funding for the indigenous people, ma'am. You go right on the website or call up to the EDA's office. They're going to tell you exactly the way I said it. They're going to say those monies are for people that were formerly known as Negroes, blacks, and coloreds. No, they ain't gave it away, ma'am. It's the money still there. Listen to me. Chad Egan monitors the Fed, monitors the money. The money is there. The problem is he wants to know why is it not being hit your hand yet? Because they keep saying to him in memos that the programs that they've created, the people are not coming to them.
That's one of the things that the mayor said to me in an email is that it's hard to spend federal money. And my response to that is it should be because it's not for you to spend. It was sent here for the people. And I stand on that. So with that being said, did we miss anybody that had anything before we wrap up? Because you had something.
That building by the Mission St. Louis, is that by the YMCA right down the street there? Oh, okay.
From the Zodiac. Right.
Mr. President, you allowing people who apply for money, who ran through red
If
tape.
there's anybody that have anything they want to add, they're more than welcome to speak now. You did you apply for it? You come up and tell us your story. Tell us what happened because we're documenting all this and we're gonna get to the bottom of these funds. And our community ain't gonna continue to look like it's looking with all these funds available. Now,
When I went to go apply, they told me I had to be in business for 6, 7, 8, 9 months or something like this here. When I left from downtown from Miss Dorothy, she told me to go apply for this, you should get this, you should get that. But I'm here just to find out how do I get this money for my business and help everybody else get theirs with the petition you got.
okay, and we're going to be enlightening you on the steps to do that. As a matter of fact, they got an initiative going right now to help start new businesses, according to the mayor through the Urban League. I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs of it, but I mean that would be a place to start if you want to start a new business. But if you have an existing business and you apply for the funds or you were discouraged from applying, we need to document that as well. Would you come so everybody can hear you, please?
The money for the businesses, is this just for brick and mortar businesses? I'm in the trucking
No,
business.
it was for anyone that has a business or anyone that has a house or just anyone that lives in the north side
Okay.
corridor.
Let me ask you this: did COVID-19 impact your business?
Yes.
You qualify for the funds,
Okay.
and,
And my,
and that's my point.
and my next question,
Okay, go ahead.
I was just basically coming to the library this evening to do some work on the computer, and that's how I found out about this meeting.
All right, well,
How do
we
I find
appreciate
out?
you.
You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna
Beforehand.
stay in touch.
Okay.
Somebody else had something they want to add.
I have two businesses on Delmar in the 5800 block. And we were told when the first board bill came out that we didn't qualify for the funds, right? So we're right on the dividing line. And there's this imaginary line that goes down Delmar. So if you're on the south side of Delmar, you didn't qualify for the funds. That wasn't okay for me because I work hard in my business. And so that was part of the holdup from the first time because I talked to Lance and I said, our district has, I think, the highest number of black-owned businesses as compared to any other business district throughout the city of St. Louis. So this imaginary line is not going to keep us from these funds. So we held it up, and I'm proud to say that. And I would see Neil out in different events, and he would joke and say, "This the reason why it's taking so long to get the money." I say, "Yeah, it should be because you shouldn't have left us out."
So do me a favor, read it out loud to some of the people who didn't hear that when they first came in. Before you say anything, this is what outlines who got the money and who's supposed to get the money and how the money keeps going.
So it says the distressed area recompete pilot program aims to alleviate persistent economic distress and support long-term comprehensive economic development and job creation in places with a high prime age, 25 to 54 years, employment gap. The program uses prime age employment gap as an indicator of economic distress because it accounts for prime age workers who have stopped looking for jobs and left the labor force, not just those who are currently unemployed. In the execution of this goal, EDA will seek to invest in programs and organizations that have a clear understanding of local conditions and pathways to create and connect people with good jobs while ensuring the program's benefits are shared equitably and across diverse geographies. EDA's long-standing mission is to ensure that all communities have a path to economic prosperity. And through the pilot program, EDA will support communities with high prime age employment gaps through flexible, bottom up strategy and implementation grants that tackle the unique challenges these communities face. So, nothing in here says something about an imaginary line down the center of Delmar. Um, and so I told them, I said, I drive down the same streets, same raggedy streets. I heard the same gunshots. I'm subjected to the same violence. I heard a lot of windows were broken all up and down our street. So the bottom line is we weren't going to be quiet and just be left out of the funds. So today we're at the same point, just a different scenario. We're still being left out of the funds because they haven't been dispersed. So I'm here. I'm ready to do whatever we need to do to get this money in our hands because I don't know if you guys know any other businesses that have closed since COVID. Y'all know some businesses that have closed. My heart hurts for them because if you're a business owner, you know what it took to start your business. You know what it takes to maintain your business. It ain't easy, y'all. It ain't easy. So these businesses have closed, but there's money that could have been there to help to provide that safety net for their business. So I want to stand up. I want to do whatever we got to do to get this money. So we're gonna get these petitions. We're gonna have multiple locations. We've got the information, and we just got to go out and do the work to get the money. We always got to work hard for what we need. Yeah.
I really believe we can get these signatures within a week. I really believe that. And I'm gonna give it my best shot. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna be busting my backside to get every signature I can on this petition. As many as we can get. As many as we can get, and and then at the end of the week we'll figure out how many we got and how many more we need to get. Well, we're gonna draw up an actual petition and make copies, and you can get them and collect signatures.
What I'm going to do is petition will be drawn. Petition will be drawn up tonight. The copy will be given to his office for his location in barbecue stand tomorrow, and you can basically go up there and pick up a copy, take to your neighborhood or your business, and pass it out and have people sign.
And see if we can get barbershop, beauty shop, any business to collect signatures on our behalf. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. All right.
Well, they got a domicile in the north side. They got to either live in the north side or have a business in the north side. Okay? Because this is the north side money. You're not county people. County got their own budget. So if you live in the county, that was the problem Lance explained to us when Ms. Coffee them present, that he had people coming to St. Louis City getting their funds, and they live in the county. And their businesses just show up buildings they own, but it's not up and running.
Well, under point of land expansion, they said if you were expanding in that side, that you could actually do that.
They didn't have, what I'm going to explain to you is they don't have fiduciary power to even give that information out. The money came from A, held by B, which is St. Louis City, to give to C, which is y'all. So as trustees, all they were supposed to do was create a form to where you came and was able to prove that you stay on the north side by way of driver's license or any identification or like utility bill. The same thing that you would do to get assistance for rental assistance. Those are the only requirements that you need to show proof of identity. From that point on, whatever address you gave them, they were supposed to either get a card to you or a check monthly. It's direct payments.
So they will you explain to them how SLDC got money?
SLDC wrote an application on behalf of the residents on the north side. They basically put themselves as a trustee to do what was right for you during the crisis, because none of you knew about the pilot program. It came with a phase 1, and we're just now moving to phase 2. So when you see churches giving out money, churches giving out aid and assistance and passing out food, that's from that money as well.
I ask you to make sure that the people that's getting the money, because the people that's on the west, like I said, on the west side of Union, that got funds, giving away, some people give $20,000 to homeowners, to fix up their house. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So is it a way you can find like discrimination?
Okay, so
if these same areas, like where the gentrifiers want to go, what did they say? Ethnic cleansing going on, that's where they're giving the money to.
Okay, so listen, when you talk about federal funding, guys, it's all federal information. So the Freedom of Information Act, what the second is
we got
so
like 4 of them, but they are all on computer, but it's they are a little bit difficult, so you can download from YouTube. That's the better option. I'll download them from
EPA does is they just disclose the information on their web page. So anybody that applied for the Rika P pilot program out of Missouri, I was able to get a copy of it from them. That's why I was explaining to y'all the information that it's not a secret. They just keep it from you because they know that you don't know where it came from. But all these other major players that's trying to redevelop property in the city, they have lawyers that are trying right now as we speak to draft up documents that put them in a position to collect something, because you're basically like an absentee voter. Right. If you do not step up to the plate and claim what's yours, then it goes back to them. It's a default on your end. You understand what I'm saying? And like the brother stated, I guess he left, that when he went down there, he left out with encouragement, because that's what they're doing. Even when you go over to Sumner, they're supposed to help you with your paperwork, but they're not. All they're doing is they're trying to get you to pay licensing fees and pay more city agencies, but you never get a clear, solidated answer about if you got awarded it. They hired Slaco. Have y'all heard of them? Slaco? Okay, Mr. McKinney runs that. He was the director of it. A year ago, the brother back there, Ron Hill, they told us they were handing us out $2,000 for everybody in the community organization to go out and put the word out about reaching out to SLDC. When we applied, they came back and said, oh yeah, you don't meet the qualifications as a community organization in St. Louis City. However, this took certain Catholic church on that same form to show how much money they've got, and they encourage people to come every morning to the soup kitchen to get, a nice meal and lunch, because it's out of the CARES Act as well. So the only people that are still not receiving their fair share is the north side.
And the small black businesses on the north side.
Would it be better if we take a few black businesses together, merge them together without losing their identity, and apply?
No, because listen, once this video goes to Chad, this is phase 1 in you collecting your money. Once Chad sees this video, now he gives it to his boss, Ernest Weston. Ernest Weston is the one that's over 3/4 of the United States when it comes to you getting your paper or not. That's Chad's boss. I spoke to him personally. So when the video goes to him showing that, hey, these people made a video about them not receiving their funds on the north side. Guess what happens from that point on? Now they got to send an investigative team down there to talk to SLDC and open them books. They don't want them books to be open. That's why I'm explaining to y'all. They trying to bluff you without knowing that Mr. Carter can put something together to get a response. That's why those Republicans are reaching out over the aisle by bipartisanship because they want to use that material to destroy the Democratic Party as well as liberals. See what I'm saying? So the money is all about politics once it comes here. The question is, the only people that suffer are the ones who don't know politics.
My congresswoman had an opportunity to converse with me about this, and she declined. Okay, so I've been reaching out to her for months. So I'm just putting it out there. I've never talked to any Republicans in my life, and I'm just that frustrated to give it a shot. Okay, and now and I didn't create this scenario; they did. Let's be clear on that.
Just because they give you some information, that don't mean you got to vote for them.
No, I'm not even talking about, I'm not concerned about votes. I'm trying to get some funding for my business that's been in distress since COVID-19, that's been suffering as a result of COVID-19. I'm entitled to these funds that my business suffered as a result of COVID-19. And if my own people, my own kind, my own democratic society won't help, I'm gonna reach out to whoever will. And that's just where I'm at. We the people of North St. Louis. That's good enough. I mean, I'm sick of all these names and groups.
Economic political justice. Right. Now, do you want to put North Side in there? Yeah. Just let that up. I'm good at organizing. I'm good at. It do need to say North Side because it lets them know which geography part of the land is asking for their money. Because we're not. The whole St. Louis has not received their money. It's just y'all.
The North St. Louis sector.
And not only people who applied and haven't received money, but again, there's people who had no knowledge.
And people that were discouraged.
That was totally discouraged. And a lot of
people now, like well, see, in the wording when she read it, you take the small businesses already here and you give them funding, they can hire and expand. That's how you grow your neighborhoods. Mr. Carter's got a business. She's got a business. When they gave them funds, they gave them enough funds to where he could raise minimum wage up and attract somebody to come work at his place from the neighborhood and pay them a salary. Same thing with her. It's to change the disparity gap, y'all. The disparity gap between us and Caucasian America and everybody else is like this. We are the biggest consumers in America, but own nothing. So in order to get a consensus about what was needed for us, is that they put tons of money in education. Yeah. Tons in that bill, it's tons of money in education. Where you and your children can go to school and learn some of the things to change the disparity level. Because you cannot change it without knowing. That's what they
18,000 children in public school in the last 5 years, and they closed 200 of schools.
Well, check this out. We're gonna lose a lot more. We're gonna lose a lot more due to black on black violence. If you want to be real with it.
No, it's black on black. The elite blacks don't pay attention.
Well, what I'm saying, man, is this right here. I'm gonna say something to you. The way the court said it. Our people are civil little more too. You understand what that means?
No.
It means dead in the eyes of the law.
Yeah.
That's why they reclassified you as indigenous. Because listen, I was born in the Kadaha Native American village in Arkansas. It's a federal park. My mother and my entire family on my mother and my daddy's side is born in that. Is buried in the National State Park. So I've been getting a lot since my birth. I'm not listed as black. And I understand I have people that think that the word black and the terminology Negro and colored, the first thing Obama did when he got in office is took the word Negro out of the swearing of the oath when you go into the military because Negro don't exist. It's a beast. So to have people in 2024 still walking around civil little more tooths, and when you go into the court, they tell you they gotta give you an attorney because you're using somebody else's name to contract business, which is illegal. That's what this is all about, y'all. Washington, D.C., and every person that sits in the light know that you cannot keep naming children after somebody else's race. It's illegal. That's what the whole point of indigenous is. We were the original people on this land, and it dates back thousands of years ago. So what I'm saying to you is, You were classified as something else, but you are listed on paper as an Indian. It says it in the first part of the Constitution, who cannot be taxed. And I just told you early in the meeting, when you call up there and speak to them, they're going to tell you the money is for the indigenous people in the urban community, communities. And how many Indians you see running around in the hood? This is codified. So all of you have a bloodline. If you go and look at Ancestry.com, when Obama got in office, Ancestry.com picked up momentum because when he made the speech in 2011 about the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, he said the United States was signing aboard to what United Nations has been trying to correct since 1948. It is to correct what civil rights could not fix. You have to give the original people of the land, which are known as First Americans, their constitutional birthright. Your unalienable right, your inalienable right, and your substantive rights that we're speaking about. So in St. Louis City, by way of SLDC filed that application, that's what they based it on, that they're going to protect for you during the crisis. But they let you down.
It's 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. Before we leave, I want everyone to know that tonight's meeting is going to be hung on. I'm now streaming on YouTube. I have a radio program that we're going to be doing on Saturday and Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's a call-in format. Town Hall Community Radio is the name of the program. Every Saturday and Sunday morning. That's going to be another tool that we're going to utilize to get information out and to keep people up to date with what's going on. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I pray that you find it in your heart and your schedule to come by tomorrow and get a copy of the petition, and let's get these signatures and get this ball rolling. 2700 Union. My phone number is 314-536-1458. That's 314-536-1458. If you don't have my number, it's 314-536-1458. You can reach out and let's get the ball rolling. Thank you all.